Doug, doesn't this put it in perspective, what's about to go down on this radio show?
I guess it does, yeah. I guess so.
Unbelievable. Welcome back to the Ryan Kelly Morning After, 105.7 HD2, The Potted Plant, TMASTL.com, and on YouTube, youtube.com/TMASTL. This week, Ric Flair and Mark Madden, hosts of Ric Flair Woo Nation Uncensored, which drops each Wednesday on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere you can get podcasts, plus YouTube. They will do a show that is just for live audience, taking questions from the live audience at Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill, friend of the show, Hot Shots, January 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. Now, the VIP tickets are already sold out. The meet and greets are already sold out, but $39.99 general admission tickets are still available. And you can meet and see the Nature Boy at Hot Shots in O'Fallon, Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to welcome to the Ryan Kelly Morning After, Doug Ric Flair.
No, great. Fantastic.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
It's an honor to have you on.
Thank you. Honored to be on.
You are of course, a legend globally, but you have ties to St. Louis that go back years and years and years and years. I saw a picture of you at Busch Stadium, just smiling and couldn't be happier, and of course came back and was at the Chase here recently. When you think of St. Louis, Rick, what stands out to you most?
Well, not only in my estimation is it one of the greatest sporting towns, period, for sports, but it was a home of the NWA, which at one time, much to my dismay, couldn't get together when Turner bought the company. But it's the greatest sports town I've ever competed in. And it was a home of the NWA. And if you got to wrestle in St. Louis back in the 70s or 80s, you were a special place in our business.
Huh, yeah, wrestling.
I wrestled. My deal was either the Keel or the Checker Dome, the landing, and the first flight out to Atlanta.
Wrestling at the Chase was huge back in this.
Once in a while, I made it over to Pops and Oz.
Oh, God. How did they treat you there when you showed up? Everybody knew
God, they loved me. That place called Kennedy's was the joint, man. God, I spent all the money I made that night working.
Oh,
They paid us in cash back then.
And so you don't
that was really limousine riding and jet flying back then.
You don't get on a plane right away or drive to the next location. You stay and hang out at the bars when the show comes to town?
No, because on St. Louis was always a Friday night, and we would just run hard, and then I had to be on Atlanta TV at 10 o'clock, so I was on the 5 a.m. So much fun I didn't go to bed. Too much going on in St. Louis to ever close your eyes.
You may be the first person who's ever said that. How do you keep going? How do you keep that pace up? You've been doing it for so long, and you're still doing it. Where does all the energy come from?
Well, I'll start it with God, and now it's age rejuvenation.
We were talking about your nickname, Nature Boy. How did you get that? What does that mean exactly?
Raquel Welch gave me that name in 1968.
Oh, God.
Doug, Raquel Welch.
My all-time favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Did you date Raquel
She said,
Welch?
Nature Boy, slow down. You're moving way too fast.
Oh, God.
Doug, aren't you glad you asked?
Oh. You actually dated Raquel Welch?
No, I'm just having fun.
Oh, jeez.
My story. It's my story, so I'm going to tell it the way I want to.
Okay, I got it.
Well, I think if you did, you wouldn't have told us anyway.
Yeah, exactly. No, I didn't. 2001 BC, I wanted to.
How are you enjoying doing the podcast where you get to tell all these stories? I know it's got a huge following, man.
Well, we're in the infancy of it. But I'm having a great time, and I've just never while I was active in the business, it was just hard to tell. You know, I'm never going to ever tell stories about anybody personally, but I've had such a phenomenal career and traveled around the world. And I mean, you know, I tell people like my week consists of a match in Auckland, Australia, or Auckland, New Zealand, and then I'd go over to wrestle in Melbourne and then fly back to St. Louis and take off the next day for Japan. So the NWA champion was real. We traveled. It was a great honor to be in that position. Sam Mushnick will be remembered forever as probably the greatest, most honest, decent promoter in the history of the business. And he treated everybody great. And you knew when you walked in that Kiel Auditorium with Pat O'Connor and Bob Geigel and Harley Race and all the other great guys that have performed there, Gene Kiniski, Buddy Rod. I mean, it was the Mecca. And I know that the city can take claim to that. The Garden can take claim to it, but I think that the level of talent that came through St. Louis would be second to none.
Rick, you kind of changed wrestling because nowadays you not only have to be able to wrestle, but you have to have good mic work. You have to have a personality. Yes. And just like, you know, when we talk to former baseball players, football players, whatever, what do you miss most about it? Is that I miss the camaraderie around the guys. And what do you miss most about not being able to do this week in, week out?
The camaraderie. It's hard. It's hard to come off the road after 40 years of being with the guys every day and sit at home and watch Netflix. And I got sick 4 years ago, really sick, and I was actually, you know, at home watching TV, which I'd never done in my entire life. If I ever saw TV, it was SportsCenter at 3 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's really hard, and every time I have a chance to go visit the guys or come to these podcasts, which we hope to take more on the road, it's just a great opportunity to interact. I spent my whole life interacting with wrestling fans, and that's what I do, and it makes me very happy personally.
I can't imagine what your body's been through with all those years and all those matches. What kind of injuries did you?
You don't want to know.
No. I bet you've heard everything at some point, didn't you?
I have, but I've donated all my internal organs to Duke.
Oh, have you?
They want to know what's keeping that mofo going.
Ric Flair's our guest here on the Ryan Kelly Morning After, and you can see him January 28th at Hot Shots in O'Fallon, Illinois. The VIP meet and greets are sold out, but $39.99 general admission tickets remain. The website for all the information is Ric Flair Live. He and Mark Madden host the podcast, and it drops every Wednesday on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere you can get podcasts, plus YouTube. Nature Boy, we have a loyal listener who's been providing wrestling recaps on this show for a decade, yes, who is on. His name's Larry Nickel, and he is on, and I know he has a couple of questions. Larry Nickel, meet Ric Flair.
Wait.
How you doing, Nature Boy?
Morning.
I want to get the record straight about one thing.
Uh-oh. Plowhawk, can you make sure that they are hearing each other?
Are you a 16-time or a 17-time World Heavyweight Champion?
I don't think he can hear you, Larry.
I can't hear you, Larry.
Well, his question was, are you a 16 or 17-time world champion?
16 is what they give me, but it's more like 21.
Oh.
This is kind of like when you debate an Alabama fan how many times they've won the national championship.
I had to leave it in San Domingo twice to get off the island.
Larry, we'll ask the other questions on your behalf. What other question do you have? I know you've been wanting to interview Ric Flair for years, so we want to make sure that this happens. What else do you have?
How did he really get the name the Nature Boy?
We've already tended to that one. You must have been listening to Charlie Brennan at that point. And any other questions we can ask for? One more.
How was it when you got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame twice?
All right, Larry. Thank you. I'll ask, and then you can listen on the station or tmastl.com. He wanted to know what it was like to go into the WWE Hall of Fame 2 separate times.
I don't think he hears us at all anymore.
Doug,
I don't think he hears us.
has anybody seen my nurse?
No.
Rick?
Nurse? Sticky Glazer.
Yes.
There he
There
goes.
he is. Okay, we lost him for a while.
I think Larry wanted to know what it was like.
Breaking up.
Larry wanted to know what it was like going into the Hall of Fame twice, I believe was his question.
Oh, it was a great honor. I mean, anytime you're recognized at that level with the WWE, it's the greatest feeling in the world. In my first induction, I met my career was over, and I was as happy as I was so sad the next day. I literally was lost. I went on a vacation to St. Croix from Orlando, and I came back a week early. I just missed going to the dressing room, talking to the guys, having fun. You know, I've always people are under the impression that I did have fun with I did run around. I'm not going to say that I didn't, but I didn't run. It was like when the bar would close, then I might have run around. I never left the fun and the entertainment and the camaraderie of the boys. Unfortunately, that came first.
We talk about, Rick, about all the superstars. But back in the day, and I think they had to get away from it a little bit because of, all the different movements and things. But females used to be a huge part of the WWE than WWF. And some of the ones in there, I know your son David was with Stacy Keibler for a while and could have been your sister-in-law. But I remember... Well, yeah, it would have been you would have been her father-in-law.
Yeah. Creepy otherwise.
But I remember, and you guys were so accommodating because I think most wrestling fans know whenever you guys come to town, you always stay close to the airport. And fans would show up after the matches in the airport hoping to meet you guys, and you would be holding court. But I remember when Stacy walked in, almost the entire bar left to go meet Stacy Keibler. And the females in some of the ones you had back in your day were almost as popular as the wrestlers.
Oh, absolutely. Stacy Keibler is just a lovely young lady that my son, she actually broke his heart, which I was afraid would happen. But she's doing really well in life, and I can't say enough nice about her. Tori Wilson, I mean, all the girls from that era were great. And now my daughter being the champion I think the women's division can compete with the men's division all day long.
I imagine
they prove it night in and night out.
The pride you have to see Charlotte doing what she's doing and the success that she's having. I mean, that emotion when you see that's got to be as genuine as it gets.
It makes me cry. I can't tell you something. When I see her out there and I'm watching, like in a restaurant or with people that know me, they see me beaming.
Did you encourage her to get
joy.
in? Did you encourage her to get into the business?
No, it's all a result of her brother passing away. She said, "I'm going to take over what his dream was," and she has.
That's awesome. That's incredible. That's absolutely amazing. I thought one of the most powerful 30 for 30s ESPN has done, and there have been some great ones, Rick, was the one they did on you. Some people like those things when they come away from them. Some people don't. You saw how Scottie Pippen reacted to the Last Dance here recently. How did you react to the 30 for 30 they did on you? How'd you like it?
Well, when you do that, you sign up. When you sign up, the producer has the right to end it on a high note or a happy note. I'm not sure that. I know my friends and family wanted me to come out where I made that comeback, which I never did, in the body of that show. But hey, I like some of it. I mean, it's funny to bring it up. I hear a day doesn't go by that someone doesn't say, "God, that was the coolest thing of all time." And you can't be any more than honest. If you're honest and you say what happened and tell the truth, That's all you can do. Some people accept that. Some people will say, God, what a terrible person. But, I have great relationship with all my children now. I have 4 ex-wives that I talked to one of them, but a lot of alimony, guys.
Yeah. That's why you're still working.
A lot of alimony. Hey, half of a lot 4 times is a lot.
Hey, is there somebody, because nowadays, celebrities want to meet Ric Flair, and you've been all around the world, you've met so many people. Is there one celebrity or athlete that you've never met that you think, God, I would like to meet this person at some point?
Well, I'm about to meet him in 2 weeks. Lance Armstrong is coming to visit me.
Huh.
That's hard to believe you never met him.
I've never met Lance, no, but he called me to be on his podcast, and I don't know what I have my opinions on what America thinks about that, but I know the guy raised $400 million for cancer, and riding up and down a hill, which was his strength to climb on those Tour de France's, you're a man and a half. And the government spent $165 million trying to bust him. It never busted him once. So, to me, he's an American hero.
Ric Flair, our guest here on the Ryan Kelly Morning After. An absolute pleasure. We'll keep him for...
I got to meet Joe Namath and Will Chamberlain. I've been around Muhammad Ali a lot.
Wow.
I'm really close to Charles Barkley and Darius Rucker, and God, I just have friends everywhere. I'm blessed.
That's exactly where I was going with this, Rick. You are beloved, and it spans generations when you're talking about the length of your career, but universally, for real, beloved. That's an incredibly unique trait. I'd imagine you're aware of it, but perhaps part of being beloved is that not necessarily coming off with the arrogance of being beloved. That you mentioned like a Barkley. There's another guy who I think would be considered beloved.
What a great! Charles Barkley is the best sports commentator. He tells it like it is. He doesn't pull any punches. He doesn't care what people think of what he says. But he's good. I love it.
Yeah, maybe that's what you share in common, is that you guys both just kind of say, here's the deal, and if you don't like it, you don't like it, but people appreciate that authenticity. That might be the recipe.
Yeah. Well, he's real. We're extremely close. I met him in Philadelphia back in the 80s, and I talk to him at least once a month, and I moved from Atlanta to Tampa in March, so I just got tired of Atlanta, and I'm down here with friends, and my wife calls it the fraternity house. So she stays at Rosemary Beach.
Well, you get it going. Who's when you were wrestling? Who was the guy you were closest to?
If she stays much longer, I'm going to join a sorority house.
Who's the wrestler when you were wrestling, or just even around and not even wrestling, that you were closest to over the course of your career? Was there somebody who really, really stood out?
Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
Our AA and I, man, we've done it all.
Doug the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Rick, how do you think that your relationship with Offset, making the song with you and Metro Boomin, how do you think that affected your career?
Are you guys familiar with Mark Madden?
No.
Mark Madden? I don't know Mark Madden. No.
He's got the biggest sports show in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So he knows a lot about sports, which I really enjoy. So we try to make the podcast a blend of wrestling, but we also talk about hockey, football, and as the season closes, it gets more fun. I'll actually be here in Tampa. I'm going to the Bucks in the Rams game Sunday. Last week I went to the Bucks and the Eagles game, so it's really fun down here.
Oh, nice.
The Lightning's in contention again. The Rays are good. Tampa's a great town.
Tampa Bay, Doug.
It's not St. Louis. It's not St. Louis in the '80s. There's no landing or anything like that. But
I can assure you that everybody in St. Louis will be polling for Tampa Bay.
Airport, 18 to 28. No boyfriends, no husbands. Come on.
Yeah. Now you mentioned Will
welcomes
Chamberlain.
the husbands,
You mentioned
though.
Will Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Will Chamberlain that you knew. Who had more conquest, you or Wilt?
I don't know.
All right.
Well,
You'll have to ask somebody.
He's already
We're
paying
always
4
gonna
albums.
exaggerate. I just know that I was at it longer.
once again, Ric Flair in town coming up January 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Hot Shots in O'Fallon, Illinois, and you can get your tickets to see Rick and Mark Madden, hosts of Ric Flair Woo Nation Uncensored.
Hey guys, I want to shout out Joey Avalone.
Doug, Joey Avalone.
Gentlemen, he's a Joey Avalone. He is a disabled. He suffered a horrible injury. He's a special ops guy, SEAL, that dove in the water to save a friend that fell off a raft, and while saving the guy, he swam into a coral reef and totally paralyzed his body.
Oh, my goodness.
And I met him when I was there for the chase. He's coming to our show. He's a great guy. And just a chance to meet Joey Avalone should be a pleasure for anybody that happens to come to the event.
How about
He's
that?
my man.
What a great shout out. That is coming up on January 28th at Hot Shots in O'Fallon. You can get tickets at RicFlairLive.com. That's Hot Shots O'Fallon, Ric Flair.
They can dance all night. They can dance a little longer. They can stay all night. They can stay a little longer. They can take off a dress. They can throw it in the corner. We don't care by the grace of God as long as they stay a little longer. Woo! Hot Shots.
Hot Shots, O'Fallon, Illinois, January 28th, RicFlairLive.com.
Flying. Woo!
Nature Boy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, Ric Flair, Doug.
Thanks, Nate.
What an absolute character.